Yeah, ready. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, and I'll call this regular school board meeting of Independent School District 544 to order.
There we go.
There we go. One district too long. And with that, we will have the clerk establish our quorum, please.
Kirby Anderson,
Here.
Natalie Knutson,
Here.
Melanie Cole,
Here.
Matthew Lemke,
Here.
Missy Hermes, yes, present, Stephen Biggessa.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. We have a need for a motion to approve the agenda. Would someone offer that?
Second.
All right. Any discussion on the agenda? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, the agenda is approved, and we'll go through our board reports and start with Kirby Anderson.
Yes, we have not had a finance meeting or an activities meeting since our last report. And there is no 5-4 for Education meeting in July. But I would like to report that we did have our major fundraiser on July 8th, the golf outing at Pebble Lake, and we had, I believe, 20 teams. And I'm not sure how it works, but every year we get a beautiful day where it was 85 degrees, no wind, and sunny, and no chance of rain. And so I worked on the registration, and everything was going smoothly, as it always does, with Mindy Feuder. And from all reports that I heard, everything went well. And the final numbers aren't in yet, but that's about it for my reports.
Okay. Moving on to my reports, we had a Special Education Cooperative Executive Board meeting last week, and that was the first meeting with our new director, Jackie. And so we'll just, so not a whole lot of action. We had personnel items. We've continued a discussion with changing the bylaws, and so that will just be a process of inclusion and education and get things going. But there was nothing really outstanding to note on that. Region 1 met at the end of last month, and we did the compensation for the staff. One of the things the director always puts out there is a bonus aside, just a one-time stipend, and adjusts for performance for some of the staff, and then also for to stay competitive, because in the IT world that can be kind of a challenge. And so it's never just an across-the-board percentage, which is always kind of interesting, but he does a nice job of laying that out. And Time Clocks Plus is the big initiative that they're rolling out for this year, and I think they're full. They can't take on any more school districts with that new initiative. So summer's when they gear up with the variety of school districts, so that's what's with the different programming and data updates. So that's all on Region 1, and that's all I have. Any questions? Go to Missy Hermes.
Nothing to report. Staff development and policy committees have not met.
All right. Ms. Knutson.
Wellness, there's nothing to report. The buildings and grounds, there's continued progress on the Lincoln School, and the chiller work has begun, and then the ALC bathroom plans have been submitted to the city. So lots of things happening here and there.
All right. Any questions for Natalie? All right, continuing on, Matt Lemke.
Lakes Country Service Co-op board met on this past Thursday, and it's just a regular board meeting. I think the big thing which we're all doing right now is hiring. So I think people resigning, people moving positions, and people hiring. I think the sheet was pretty full. So I think that's what was good. I think that was the highlight that I will speak on Lakes Country Service Co-op board right now, and getting ready for the fall. So, And then Minnesota High School League does not meet until August, so I have nothing to report on them.
All right. Steven?
Nothing to report, curriculum review doesn't meet until fall, so.
Okay. Superintendent Drake.
Good morning. On the marketing side, I just want to update you with some of our work in looking at a new mascot for Fergus Falls. And I think Matt's been able to provide some feedback to the group. Derek has, I have, to the design team, and Mark Anderson as well. So we're feeling like we like this mascot design. It'll be on our board retreat agenda for Thursday as well. But one of the things that we hadn't decided yet is whether we like the maroon FF with the gold trim or the kind of traditional gold FF, which I think is the same kind of FF that goes on the letter jackets here and has been around for many, many years. So we can talk more about it at the retreat, but we're pretty excited about how it's looking.
Looks like somebody stole his cheese. No. Very good. Yes.
Just updates, and Natalie mentioned a couple of these. The ALC bathroom, design intent architects through Comstock did some architectural drawings. They went to the city to issue the construction permit. We're awaiting the permit from the city, and then work can be begun on that. That's going to be a tight schedule. There were some changes in the supervisor of this project at Comstock, so that's shifted around. I think we're on our third person now, but hopefully this can all get done before the start of the new school year, but it's going to be tight. The Roosevelt Kitchen, we've ordered some of the appliances for that. The construction piece is ready to be set up. We've got the flooring that should be ready to go, and this is a pretty straightforward project. Even if with time factors this would happen to spill in a little bit into the start of the new year, I don't think that's super critical. We're not interfering with any currently used instructional space. There might be just a little bit of inconvenience for the kitchen staff. But I think this project will get done prior to the start of the school year as well. We're still working with the ice damage at Lincoln on the mitigation, and that's an insurance adjustment. With those roof systems to prevent the large chunks of snow and ice from tumbling off there, and then also some structural components to better adhere those canopies to the side of the facility. So that will, once that project is done, that should be better and stronger than it has been for a long, long time. And then with Lincoln School, we did have a user group meeting facilitated by Zerberg last week. We looked at special ed space, we looked at media center, then we looked at classroom spaces as well. And custodial maintenance and mechanical were also present during various meetings. Some really good feedback was provided to the designers. I know that the teachers left very excited about the design of the building. There was some comment back and forth about the use of carpeting. And so this gets to be a little bit of push and pull. Carpeting is more difficult and more time consuming to maintain on the custodial side. But in terms of the instructional environment, it reduces noise in the hallways and in the classrooms and makes it easier to teach as well. So we did a little bit of compromising. The classrooms themselves will have carpeting in about 2/3 of the area, and the other will be more of a luxury vinyl tile. And then in the hallways, the 2 hallways that have, and they're shorter hallways, but are right out in front of the classrooms, those will also be carpeted. But the interior hallway and the 2 hallways that run horizontal, coming basically major thoroughfare from on the north side for the playground and then the gym, those will be luxury vinyl tile. So I think there was a nice kind of give and take there. Always with sites, you do have to take into account the amount of time you're going to need to maintain it properly, so I appreciated that input. The review and comment was submitted to MDE approximately a week and a half ago, and they have up to 60 days to get back to the district on that review and comment. And then we are still anticipating going out for bid on this towards the end of August. And we'll talk more about timelines, et cetera, during our work session on Thursday. And then the chiller project, we did have our initial construction meeting on the chiller project. Some of the work is ongoing now out here. You may see some marks up here on the hill where that concrete pad is going to be poured, et cetera. Just still some crazy stuff on the supply chain side. Originally, we thought our air conditioning units were going to arrive in mid to late October. Then we got some better news and said they would be shipped on August 12th. Blaine Parkos with ATS&R said he'd reached out to the vendor just a couple days prior to our meeting, and now they're saying you'll get them in December. So, and that piece probably isn't the trickiest part of it at all. There is a switch that we need to have, and then another electrical component that needs to come, and they're not scheduled to arrive till around May 1st, and then it's a couple weeks after they get here for Otter Electric to complete the install. So we're going to be pushing this thing really tight in the spring. Not that I would wish for a cooler spring, but if it gets really hot, we could have a couple weeks where it's a little sticky at KSS. So that's an update on some of the building stuff. We'll talk a little bit more about the outdoor basketball court coming up on Thursday. And then this date obviously has come and gone, but with the Otter Fieldhouse fundraising, Derek and I did talk a little bit about that the other day. They're going to put kind of a virtual tour together. He's going to work with Jesse Thorstead and talk about where the facility's at right now, the changes that we would like to make, and then use that as a promotional item to generate interest in community contribution to it.
Where will they post that, Superintendent?
We certainly could post it as part of the district's website, but also the activities Facebook page can go there as well. And then if we have any, I would think with 544's involvement as a fiscal host, they would be willing to do some advertising of this on our behalf as well. And then last, are any questions that you might have?
On the facilities, Matt and I were just chatting a little bit this morning. Pool cover, I think that was
Yep.
kind of less than a 1-year payback or something to it.
Yep.
Any update on where we're at on that one with Doug?
It's been probably a month since Doug and I talked about that. He had reached out to a couple of vendors, so I will touch base with him again for an update.
All right, good job, thanks.
All right, any other questions for the superintendent? Very good, we'll move on to our general consent items. For consideration of approval are the minutes from our last board meeting on June 27th. And then bills and treasurer's report.
Yes, the treasurer's report, our general fund we're down about just over $1 million. It's one of those months where we have some annual interest payments that are due in August and various things that are one-time payments that go up this time of year. And it's basically more money going out than coming in, if you know what I'm saying. So Matt and I met this morning with our business manager. And so Renee was here bright and early and had everything ready for us to go. As we went through, we saw, for instance, some of the large payments we had. One of our initial payments went to Zerberg. That was just over $100,000. And I think there was some that went to R.A. Morton too. I think that was like $4,000. So there's some stuff going out on that end. We did talk a little bit about the gas bill. I know it seems like it's a little bit high right now. We have Great Plains for $14,000 and Constellation's another $8,000. And we're assuming it's probably for the pool, because normally you wouldn't see a large gas bill in the spring, summer time. And I think that we have some things going there to try and audit that a little bit. I think it wasn't Constellation was going to do some of that, try and find us better prices. So Renee's going to follow up a little bit on some of that as well. So we thank her for that. Dan's Vacuum, we bought a quilting machine for $9,000 for our curriculum. Quite a bit of money went out this month between Lightspeed Electric and then some of the computer vendors for the Prometheum panels that are going in right now. I think just on the Lightspeed it was $24,000 just for the electrical portion of those. And that one. We had parts, like 2 months worth of bills that we reviewed. So the other part here. The annual payment just under $100,000 to the police department, which is for our SRO contract. $6,500 to Hillcrest, which was a textbook pass-through. And again, a lot of bond interest payments. And then the Connecting Point Computer Center, we have those active panels that we purchased, and that was between $150,000 and $200,000 for those. So, and then some pretty good size, McGraw Hill, $142,000 in math curriculum. So it just gives you an idea of some of the payments that are going out this time of year. And then there's some interest payments that went out on some of our bonds, including one for Lincoln and one for Kennedy. So that's about it, unless there's any questions. That would be my report on the bills and the treasurer's report.
Thank you, Kirby. All right, and then we'll turn to Elaine Banky for the updates on personnel.
Good morning, everyone. A few items here to receive approval on. Under certified staff hires, Christy Angus, who's currently our language arts teacher at ALC, just a contract increase of .0833 for a new school year. She'll be just teaching additional class during one semester next year. Devaney Smith, school counselor, hire of Devaney Smith, school counselor at KSS. Kelsey Lage, as you know from our last board meeting, resigned, so Devaney will be taking Kelsey's spot. And then Chris Grobowska, fifth grade teacher here at Kennedy Secondary School. Support staff resignation, Kevin Bitker, net custodian. And then we have individual contracts that we have settled. Technology systems manager, technology support staff, technology support specialist, food service director, mechanical supervisor. You do not have the facility supervisor on your list, but Doug Anderson gave that to me this morning, so I did add that to the agenda. And then director of community education, Mary Madison. So I would request these for board approval. And also further down under new business, there is some food service contract hour changes with job descriptions in either reduction or in addition to the positions, just due to just the changes in the food service department. So I would also recommend that for board approval.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions on the general consent items? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Did we do a motion
You'll say
already?
no, we didn't do it.
All right, well, sorry, I'm a little foggy today, but, is there a motion to approve the general?
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Okay, now, we are good to go, and move on to new business. Is there a motion to approve the, school absorption chiller contract to award that bid to Delzer Construction in the amount of $34,669. Would someone make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All right, any discussion? All in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. That is approved. Looking for a motion to accept the milk product bids from Cass Clay Creamery for the upcoming school year.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second it.
All right, any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
I was hoping you'd say all in favor, say move.
I-
One of these times.
Matt, you're supposed to second the motion. That's your cue.
All right. And the opposed say nay, and that is approved. The next item on the agenda is looking for a motion regarding the facilities rental handbook and procedures.
I would like to make a motion that we table that particular item until next month. I know we looked at it a little bit at our last meeting, and there was two of our senior board members that weren't here, and I think that if it's okay, I think if we just hold off for one more month on that, and then we can add that to the agenda for Thursday, if that would be okay. But I would make a motion that we table that until our next meeting.
I'll second that motion.
All right, any discussion on that? All in favor of tabling the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. And next is a facility lease agreement with the Special Education Cooperative, 935. Would someone make a motion to approve that lease?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second that.
All right. And any discussion or questions regarding that? Had some discussion. You'll see the next motion is for a separate lease for the support services and software services that are allocated to the special ed cooperative. So this is for the facility itself. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. And then we'll move on, looking for a motion to approve the support and software services lease with the Special Education Cooperative. So I'll make that motion.
I'll make that motion.
All right, and is there a second?
I'll second
Any discussion on that? All in favor of approving, say aye.
it. Aye.
Opposed, say nay. And the last business item on the agenda is looking for approval for food service contract and work service hour changes. Would someone make a motion to approve the variety of adjustments described on
I'll
the-
make that motion.
All right, and is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, that is approved, and we will meet Thursday morning, 7:30 a.m., not 7:15, slight change, and then have a board work session for half a day, and then come back for our next regular board meeting on August 8th. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion on adjournment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.